Hey, I'm Randy and I'm the Cheap Audio Man. Here at the Cheap Audio Man, we don't feel like hi-fi gear, speakers, DACs, amps, power conditioners, CD players, transports should cost more than getting a root canal when you don't have any dental insurance, so that you can go ahead and participate in life without having debilitating pain in your mouth. And these don't. What are they? This is a DIY speaker kit from GR Research. It's the XLS Encore. It's the base kit. So sit down, grab a cup of coffee, and let's talk about the GR Research XLS Encore, the base kit edition. Today's sponsor is Harold's Generic Cereal Dino Bites with marshmallows. How do you make Cocoa Pebbles better? I'll tell you how. You stick a bunch of marshmallows in them, and then you sell them in a bag for an affordable price that's cheaper than the cereal in a box. Harold's Cocoa Dino Bites with marshmallows. I'm messing this all up. It's available at your local Walmart neighborhood market. They're really good. I actually eat them for dinner often. Okay. GR Research XLS Encore, the base kit. I was excited to get these. Actually, this was my birthday present to myself. And old Ron over at New Record Day chipped in on them for the enclosure, and it was awesome. These are in a Baltic birch enclosure that I built myself. I didn't make it, but I mean, I assembled it. I glued it up together. That came from Peter Rollins, okay? So that came from a different place than what you'll get on the GR Research website. I chose Baltic birch because guess what? The veneer's already installed. All you have to do is sand it down and put whatever type of coating or covering or finish you want on it, and then you're done. You don't have to cut out some veneer and put it on there. That's easier for me because I am not a finishing good person. I can't finish good well. All right. The price of this kit starts at $250 or $249 and can go up, I think, around $500 depending upon what type of components you choose. I chose the base kit with the exception of I added the tube connectors, and tube connectors is just a way that you hook up your speaker cable to the speakers themselves. That's a $50 upcharge. So these are reportedly 87 dB, and I think they are. That sounded fine. 8 ohms resistance. I drove these with the Anthem integrated 225. That's a discontinued integrated amp. You can still get the 225 power amp, but it's a monster. So it's something like 100 and something watts into 8 ohms, like 300 into 4 ohms. Also, the Emotiva A300, which is, again, very powerful. And I was using the TA100 as a preamp into it. Also, I used the Rysong A10, which is a tube amplifier, low power, 6 watts per channel. It drove them well. Everything drove them well. The tube amp didn't get super loud, but I mean, it's 87 dB, so that's not super hard and it's not super easy, and it's kind of on the south side of medium. So it's not an incredibly easy speaker to drive, but if you have anything 35 watts or more, I think you're going to be just fine. If you have a tube amp, probably 6 watts or more is probably what you're going to be looking for. Has a 6.5-inch composite paper woofer and a 1-inch soft dome tweeter. It's a peerless tweeter. The woofer is designed by Danny, and that's manufactured, and then he brings them in. Okay? All right. Let's talk about soundstage and imaging. Soundstage and imaging is, in a word, sublime. It is incredible. I heard things in soundstage and imaging with this speaker that I haven't heard before, and that could be a function of some clarity that we'll get into in the treble. But I used all the tracks I normally use, wherever I may roam. Came way right. The chain, Fleetwood Mac, everything was dead center, regardless of really how I had it towed in. Does it get better? Yes. If you tow them in aggressively or tow them in at each opposite shoulder, it gets better. But out of the box, it's not picky about where you put it. Vertical imaging is there as well. Hello by Adele. She seemed like she was up above the speakers. I did a new track. It's Iron Man by Black Sabbath, and boy, oh boy, it laid everything out right in a row and then behind. This speaker is one of the best that I've heard, and it beats, I think, all of the factory speakers that I've heard in this price range. From a sense of bigness or enormity of the soundstage and the space, you cannot fault this speaker when it comes to soundstage and imaging. It's wonderful. And the only thing that even comes close is, ironically, another kit. So it's wonderful. It's wonderful. Let's talk about bass. Bass on the GR Research XLS Encore bass kit is wonderful again. The only thing that this speaker doesn't do better than any other speaker I've heard is the bass extension. However, it's got a reported roll-off of, I think, 55 hertz, okay, on the bottom end. I forgot to say that. 55 hertz up to 20K is what I think the top end's rated at. The roll-off was very smooth. This speaker plays big, but it doesn't play like it's punching you hard in the face, but it's still neutral. Where the bass on this just destroys every other speaker that I've heard, with the exception of another kit, is in bass clarity. And I never really even considered that until I heard these. And the tone and texture, basically how detailed the bass is wonderful. I'm going back to the same song, Iron Man by Black Sabbath. There's a bass line in there, and it's just, you can hear the pluck and the wow. I've never heard tone and texture and clarity in bass like I've heard here, with the exception of the other kit. Intergalactic, it didn't reach as low as some other speakers that I've heard, but I'll take it because it still has a very smooth roll-off. And the reported 55 hertz, it doesn't seem like it's a 55 hertz rated speaker. It seems like it goes much lower, which I think it does. In room, that number's going down. So the bass on this feels as low as the ELAC Debut Unify 2.0, the ELAC Debut Reference, the SVS Primes. The only thing that goes lower, I think, were like the big Polk S20s, which has a rated frequency response of 37. The R100s don't go as low, and it's also a smaller woofer. It's amazing. Highway to Hell, very tight. This is neutral sounding bass. It's not bumped anywhere. But the texture and tone of the bass is something to behold. So what, Miles Davis? Again, I've never heard bass like this from a texture and tone standpoint, except for the other kit. Let's talk about mid-range. Mid-range. Once again, it's simply sublime. Everything. And again, it comes back to clarity within the woofer itself. Male vocals, wonderful. There Will Be Time, Mumford & Sons. Again, I'm hearing things, I'm hearing details, I'm hearing nuances in his voice that I've never heard before. Hello by Adele. Again, same thing. This speaker does male and female vocals, again, better than anything I've heard, except for maybe the other kit. It's just wonderful. It's flat. It's no, oh, this speaker does female voices very well, or this speaker does male vocals very well, Or the speaker does acoustic guitars, and acoustic guitars again are more detailed and layered than anything I've heard before. Rooster, Alice in Chains, off the MTV Unplugged, is just simply amazing. There is nothing to complain about in the mid-range. And quite frankly, I just feel like this speaker on just about every level just said sit back and enjoy the ride, because you're going to have an experience that you never had before. Yeah, I think that's about it. Here's the thing about the mid-range. I wrote down it's full with no coloration. Oftentimes with a factory speaker that I've listened to, it kind of seesaws, right? If it's really full and nice, then a lot of times the detail's not quite there. But the crossover point on this is really low. So I don't know if I just think that you're getting better drivers, better crossover components, better integration of the crossover. I don't know what it is, and I don't care, because it sounds brilliant and it sounds perfect and it's just amazing. Talk about treble. Air, 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 and more air. It's airy. Incredible detail. Incredible cymbal decay. Going back again to Iron Man. The cymbals and the percussion on that was just amazing. It was the most realistic, and I've said, hey, this is in the room. This was almost like in the room with a magnifying glass. Like, I just don't know if I've heard anything better, with the exception of the other kit. I'm not saying the other kit's better, okay? I'm just saying there's others to consider here. There was one thing that I noticed, and every now and again, I felt like this was almost getting bright, and then it just pulled back right before it got bright. Also with sibilance, King of Pain, Alanis Morissette, off the MTV Unplugged record. And it's not any speaker's fault, because that recording is sibilant. And it's and it was. It almost was like magnified, but it wasn't. It's very clear, very detailed on the top end. Not fatiguing, but there was that was the only thing I was like, okay, that's a little bit hot right there. From a frequency response, I don't think there's any spikes or whatever. I don't know, but I can get over that 100%. And I think anybody should get over that, because still, I think at this price, I think this is the best speaker you could probably get, with the exception of maybe another speaker, okay? But that other speaker's more expensive. Cymbal decay, Iron Man. Iron Man was just a wonderful track, because I've heard that so many times, but I've never heard it like this, all right? What are my final thoughts? Final thoughts. First of all, this is one of the best speakers I've ever heard, bar none. It's one of the most well-balanced speakers I've ever heard. It's one of the cleanest, clearest speakers I've ever heard. This is the best bass texture and tone that I've ever heard from a speaker, with the exception of maybe one other. It's another tier above what I've been listening to in the $500-$600 range from a bookshelf. The only gripe, and it wouldn't be a gripe if I had not heard another kit, is the bass extension. That can also be a function of the enclosure, and frankly is a strong function of the enclosure. There is a mini tower version, I think, available of this. It's a different enclosure and it digs deeper. But I don't want to give the impression that this doesn't have great bass roll-off, because it does. It's perfect. There's just another speaker out there that has more bass presence. And maybe, because I can't say this isn't confident in the bass. It is confident in the bass, but the other speaker's more confident in the bass. That's it. From my bass clarity, and it's kind of funny that I say clarity and bass together, because it never really occurred to me until I heard this. Outstanding. This is the best value in audio. And that's even if you can't do it. Like, if you even think that you're interested and you think that maybe you could build this, I'd say go for it, okay? Now, if you make a mistake, you've made a mistake. If you mess up the enclosure, you may need to buy another enclosure. But I said in a couple other videos that I will actually do the full assembly, make sure I do the measurements, make sure everything's done correctly for a fee. And even if you have to pay that fee to get it put together for you, I still think there's nothing that can hold a candle to these, with the exception of maybe another speaker, okay? Absolutely 100% jaw-droppingly awesome is what the GR Research XLS Encore bass kit is. It is another step in my hi-fi journey that is light bulb moment, oh my gosh moment, the miracle is happening moment with these speakers, okay? If you want to support the channel and you like the video, please like the video and subscribe. You can hit the bell notification if you want to know when all the new Cheap Audio Man videos go up. You can also use any of my links. Now, I do not have an affiliate with GR Research. I've got no horse in this race. So if you buy through that link, I'm not getting paid anything. And it doesn't matter because these are wonderful. You can also sign up for Patreon, patreon.com/cheapaudioman. Every Sunday night we have patron-only Zooms. We also have a patron-only Facebook group. You can get in there, chit-chat, sell some things that you don't want anymore. And I've been doing patron testimonials about me. And just because I know some people may be hesitant to become a patron. And Tulsa Tony said, that Randy, he's not as stupid as you think he is. So that's the testimonial from a patron. All right. You can also sign up for Amazon Music HD for free. Click on the link in the description. Scroll down to the bottom. Click Try HD. Try out all this high definition stuff and see if it's for you for free for like 3 months. And I get a couple of dollars. So, great speaker. Should be on the short list of anybody that's in this price range. You can finish it how you want. I am not a genius, and I kind of liked how these turned out. I'm going to do probably another pair just to see how much better I can get it. I've also veneered another pair of speakers, so I'm getting better at that too. But think about it. Food for thought. All right? So don't binge watch anything on Netflix or Hulu or whatever it is. Binge listen through the GR Research XLS Encores and fill your soul with happiness. And with that, I'm Randy, and I am the Cheap Audio Man.